Hi, I'm Sandy Genovese, and we are looking at making a Christmas card today. And I realized that as we get closer to the holiday, you have less time to prepare. So I tried to pick one that I love the look of, but that are easy enough that you still have plenty of time. They can go together quickly and they look great. The one we're going to do today is a gate-folded star card, but before I pull it out, I want to reference it. This one will fit into an A2 size envelope. The dimensions of that are 4 3/8 by 5 3/4. So here is the card, and it's called a gatefold card because it opens from the middle like a gate, and you can see inside. I have a great picture of Quincy. My sister tells me that Quincy likes to sit in front of her computer. This is my sister's granddaughter, my great niece, and she loves to watch these videos. She waves at me on the screen, and every time Diane walks by, she says, "That's your sister." So Quincy, hello, we're using you today. Anyway, you're going to be able to feature a family photo, or you don't have to have a photo. You have all this space that you can write a message. If you want to put a message longer, you can put a message on the back. Some people like to print it on the computer and send a big letter in all their cards, but you can also take vellum and then just take a little bit of the washi tape, place it right over the top, and this can be then your message. And then of course the washi tape, it's like painter's tape because it's paper. It will come off easily and they can still enjoy the photo inside. So you have all those options for your message. Now, in order to start, I used a Sizzix die cut, and this is called the Card Star Gatefold Card. And don't worry, I'm going to show you in a minute. If you don't have this die or you don't want to purchase the die, I think it's like $39.99 for the die, but there's an easy way that you can do it by hand as well. I want to give you all of your choices in case time's running out for you and you're thinking, maybe a die is going to save me some time. So if you're looking at using the die cut, you're going to start, the creases are already there for you to fold. You're going to start, the very first crease will be a mountain fold, and then a valley fold, and then the next one is a valley fold, and the final is a mountain fold. So it ends up creating this formation, this star formation. And I use the same die, and I just place patterned paper over the star section in order to be able to add the detail. You might want to use a ribbon to close the card. So the ribbon is talking to me. It's telling me that it wants to get used, I guess. So I'm going to position this. The beauty of a die cut is it's going to align perfectly because it was cut with the same tool. And then I'm going to use, you can see that the pattern paper that I used, here's the stripes that were on. Some of the cards you might want to use the stripe side, and some of the cards you might want to use the polka dot side. That's what I did. I used actually both when making this. So once you cover over it, you have the elements. At this point, you're ready to slide in the photo. But before we talk about adding the strip with the message on the top, remember I promised I'd show you, if you're not using a die cut, actually that's pretty simple too. What you want to do is start with the piece of paper, and this is 5.5 inches wide by 8 inches long. And the simplest thing to do to create a gate-folded card is to begin by folding it the normal, like a normal card, just in half. Then open it back up and use that middle fold as your guide for bringing in this end. Line it up with the middle fold and crease. Bring this end in and line it up with that middle fold and crease. This gives you a gate-folded card. Now it does give you a fold line inside, but remember, this is going to have a photo in here and maybe even a message on vellum, so that fold line is not going to show. Once you have the mechanism, the gate-folded guts of the card, now you need to look at creating the stars. Now you may have a die cut of a star, or I thought just in case you don't, I would show you. I've stapled 2 pieces of patterned paper together. Now if you want something like this, if you want the lines in the star to line up, then you need to cut out both of your stars together. So I've got my 2 pieces of paper here, and when I say line up, I mean that the stripes on this top one match with the bottom one. And then I'm going to go ahead and with my scissors, I'm cutting out 2 stars together. Now as I'm getting to the end of the cutting, you can see how important it was for me to staple the papers together. That way the two sheets haven't moved as I've been cutting, and it's easy to cut both of them. And it's going to make it so that the stripes pattern will align in the stars. You want to take the two while it's still two of them and fold them. And you can fold them down the middle, although it does not have to be a symmetrical design. You can do anything. You just need to have the folds in the same matching place. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place adhesive on the inside of this star. And remember, you would put more adhesive than that. And then bring this, line it up with my fold, and push. And I'm going to put adhesive on the inside of the matching star. And now you can see why it was important that I cut those together, because I want the stripes in the pattern to line up. So, and now press down, and what you end up with is the nice star card, and you have the other half of the star inside. Now this is stars. If you want to take this idea, you can have any shape be the handles of your card. So later on you could do hearts for Valentine's, you could do flowers for Mother's Day, all kinds of cool options. Once you have your card in this stage, whether you've done it with a die cut or whether you've done it with your own handmade version. Now let's look at this final element. When I bring this up, you can see all I've got here is a little message that I've written on a tab, and it's attached with a brad. And when I flip it over, you'll see that there's just the back, the prongs of the brad. If you don't want to see the prongs, all you need to do is put this in before you glue the green onto the red, and then the prongs will be trapped between the green and the red layers. Let me show you over here. Here you can see I have red and green, and when they're stacked together, you have, I'm going to move this onto the wood because I think it'll show a little bit easier. Here you can see it just gives you a little narrow band of green showing. I've used my 16th inch punch to cut a tiny little hole, and then I have this little baby brad that's going to go in that hole, and the whole thing is going to just get attached. If I take my 16th punch, which is right here, the reason I'm using such a small one is because I want it to stay fairly rigid. So you're going to put your hole there, take the section for the message, line these holes up, and what are the odds that I'm going to be able to get a brad to slip through here and not. So I'm going to poke the brad through like so, and then once you turn it over, just open those brads back up. And you have your message. Now what I would do, I just used a white pen, and I'll go ahead and I'll write my message. But if you're going to handwrite it, then I think it might be wise. Let's see if I can write Happy Holidays. Just to make sure that you like how the handwriting looks or that you don't misspell something, you might want to do this step before you go to all the trouble to attach it. But that's how you're going to attach this section here. If you want to use a die cut, you can also, if you'll notice on the table, you can also die cut the envelope. And if you want an alternative way that you can hold it closed, instead of using the brad with the little strip, you can use ribbon by just cutting a couple of little strips in the stars and threading ribbon through and tying it into a bow on the top. You know, whether you choose a holiday or a completely different theme, a gate folded card with star handles, you know, I think it may be one of the easiest cards that you'll ever make.